Hello, this is the new Pyxis training to get you ready for when we go live real soon. And so let me take you through it real quick. This should take no time at all. First thing I want you to notice that you sign in with your hospital username and password. So no more Pyxis password or Pyxis username. You sign in with your hospital username, your hospital password. You register your fingerprint. You don't have to use your password anymore. If your password changes on the computers, it changes automatically with Pyxis. So if your finger doesn't work that day, it's your computer password that gets you in. But I'm going to sign in with the generic user for this time. This is your home screen. Orange at the top means something's wrong. It could be a failed drawer, in which case if you saw an icon that said failed drawer, this one says discrepancies. But one that said failed drawer, you would come down to recover storage space. It might say drawer 5. You would click drawer 5, hit start. It would pop out. You'd fix the little flap that wasn't closed or something like that, close the drawer, and it clears itself and it's happy. For discrepancies, if it's your job to clear discrepancies, there's a discrepancies bottom to bottom, and there's a list of all the discrepancies that are created. Now, there's a ton here. Hopefully you don't have that many, but all you would have to do is click on it, accept, and you could count this with a cosigner, resolve it, and I'll bring a little cosigner over here. There's a reason, so maybe they counted wrong or something like that. We could type in some information and then hit accept. And print off a little paper for your manager. You can give to them. Okay, and that one's gone now. Some other things you might use is a more button here, and we have global find. So if you ever need to find a medication that's throughout other Pyxis in the hospital, you can use global find. You also have user preference, and this is where you can change your bio ID. So if you cut your finger one day, you could change which finger you use for Pyxis. And then the last thing that's in more is visitor access. So if you're a charge nurse and needs to give a nurse access to the Pyxis for the day, you would do it here in visitor access by searching their last name. Okay. So that's these buttons on the bottom. We're almost done here. Inventory count, if you count narcotics, you hit inventory count, and then you have controlled. And we have this new thing called access control at the top here. And that means you only have to count the narcotics that have opened, their drawers have opened since the last time you counted narcotics. So that way it cuts down on the amount that you have to do. And it makes sense because if it hasn't opened, we don't need to count it. Then we have two buttons that access patients. The first one all the way on the left is all available patients. And this is all the patients that are in your department. They have oranges for same last name, but it has to be exactly the same last name. And then if you need to find someone within your department and you want to narrow the search, start typing their last name and less people pop up. If they're not necessarily in your department, but you need to find them, maybe they're coming up from the ED, but Meditech hasn't moved them yet. Facility search is at the top, and you can just search someone's name information and find them. Okay? So that's all available patients. If we're in all available patients and we're on our floor or anywhere else, right now in Pyxis, you pick the action first, like I'm going to waste, or I'm going to return, or I'm going to pull. But now we find the person first. So we found this person, and I click them and highlights them. At the bottom here, I can remove for this person. I can look at the past removed items and see a list for that person. I can waste for that person, I can return for that person, and I can override things for that person. So find the person first, then pick the action. One more thing to note while we're on all available patients, if for some reason you have to create a temporary patient, maybe it's downtime, Meditech's down, you need to put this new patient in here, and you're the first person that's touching this patient. The bottom right here has add temporary patient. And then there's a little screen where you can put as much information as you have in, so you can start overriding for this patient and capturing the medications we need to give to them. So I'm back in all available patients. There's another functionality called My Patients that you have. So if we're on the home screen, it's the next button over going left to right. You can create your own little status board for the day. And so I have these 5 patients here. Maybe I'm coming in and I have only 2 of them from yesterday, and then I'm going to change out 3 of them. So there's an edit patient list here over the bottom right. And there's all the patients in my department. And on the right, it's a list of the patients I have. All I have to do is tap them, and they go away. And then I want to grab this one, and this one. So they come over from left to right. Hit accept, and I have a new status board. So there's my 5 patients. There's some times of the day. I have little dots for timings. My little orange is telling me I've got overdue meds for that patient. If I hit the dots, I can pull by those times. So I want to see Mr. Oliver's 5 o'clock meds. I tap, and there's 5 o'clock meds for Oliver. If I tap on the 7, there's 7 o'clock meds for Oliver. They have a PRN column, so all the PRN meds for Oliver. And then they have an all orders column as well for the dot. So I'm going to pick a patient. We're going to remove. I have a due now, a PRN column, and all orders. Okay? So I'm going to grab some stuff. If I tap it, it goes over to the right. Tap it, it goes over to the right. Tap it, it goes over to the right. And then if I don't want that one, I just tap over here, it goes back. And then I have the meds I want to pull. And I hit remove meds. Now I show you the screen. I don't think we're going to go live with this functionality, but just in case one day we decide to prompt the person that's pulling the medication with a question, maybe it's to make sure that we use a filter needle, or you can't crush this, or won't put this down a peg tube, things like that. Or it could be clinical data that would help you out there. It doesn't go to the EMR, it's just something to keep in your mind. We're going to answer the question and move on. We have a running list on the left here of what we're doing. We have an arrow, what we're on, and we have a check mark once we've done it. So I'm on warfarin here. And I pulled it, and I closed my drawer. Next one's popping open. As you can see, we're moving down on the left there to the next med. And there's my trazodone. Close my drawer. Now we're on morphine. We need to count this. So there's 7 in here, but the machine always thinks I'm wrong, this training machine. So I'm gonna end up creating a discrepancy here. So, yep. Maybe last person getting count right. So we have morphine here. We have 4 milligram vial. It tells me to remove a vial and administer 2 milligrams of it. And therefore, on that little lime green line at the bottom there, which is hard to read, I'm sorry on the video, but it says the remove amount is greater than the ordered amount. So therefore, we need to waste. So we're gonna waste now. It tells me to take it, close my lid, close my drawer. Then my friend walks over. We're gonna waste 2 milligrams for 0.5 mLs. They put their stuff in. They'll have their fingerprint, but I have their fingerprint and test here. And we're happy, and we're moving on. So now we're on Tylenol. Look, we have some administration instructions, give with food for some reason here. So we're gonna do what it tells us to do. Put our tab. And lastly, albuterol. And we have it. All right, that's about it. I think if you know that, you're good to go. And everything else you'll find along the way. It's pretty easy. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.